Om. ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवम्। ओम वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मआणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। So we were on the 40th shloka last time, where we read Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo abhibhavatyuta. So Arjun is telling Bhagwan, and that's where I left last time, by the destruction of families or clans, sanatanaha kuladharmaha pranashyanti, that culture or tradition which is flowing in from tradition, which is flowing from family to family, lineage after lineage, that will get destroyed. And I told you one thing more at that time. See, in Sanatan Dharma, before that you need to understand one more small thing, in how the whole philosophy spans. On top is philosophy, from philosophy comes religion, from religion comes culture, from culture comes tradition. Okay, the reason I said it for a reason. When you talk about philosophy, many philosophies may be like looking like each other only. Many people know that God is only one. But the definition of God, there may be somewhere which is right, somewhere which is not so correct, somewhere be accurate. But Sanatan Dharma gives the accurate definition of God. See, God is somebody every religion has accepted in their own form. So, once what happened, I'll tell you one incident here before I go into the session. There was a camp going on of Puja Gurudev in Siddhawadi. Siddhawadi is in Dharamshala. So there was a camp going on, and there were many the people who were attending the camp. There was one person who was very interested in what Gurudev is saying. but he was too much confused. So he went to Gurudev and said, Gurudev, I have a question. So Gurudev asked him, what is the question? He said, no, I cannot ask in front of everyone. You need to give me separate time to ask this question. He said, why? What happened? The question is very personal to me. I cannot ask in front of everyone. I don't want others to, think like that. So he went to Gurudev and asked. Gurudev said, okay, come tomorrow morning. After the session, you come and sit with me. So he went and sat in front of Gurudev and he said, Gurudev, I have a problem, but don't get upset with me. He said, what? Gurudev, I don't believe in God. So Gurudev said, you have been sitting in the session for 5 days and have been elaborating upon God in so much detail. So he was thinking that Gurudev is going to scold him. Gurudev didn't scold him. Gurudev asked him, which God? See, the question is very clear. Huh? Which God? So he said, he got confused now. Which God? What do I answer to Gurudev now? He said, no, Gurudev, I do not know much about God. He said, that's why I'm asking, which God you don't believe in? So he said, that God under who has created this whole creation, and there is so much problem in this whole world. Wherever you look, there is a problem. Some are resolvable, some are non-resolvable, some are dying, some are doing something. I don't understand which kind of God it is. I'm not impressed with that God. So the Gurudev said, if that is the God you don't believe, then there are 2 atheists sitting in this room. He got shocked. What is he talking about? He is elaborating about God in that session. It's been 6 days I've been hearing, and he's saying he is also an atheist. He says, you know what? The problem is people don't disbelieve in God. There is nobody who don't believe in God. The only problem is the understanding of God which you have. That's a problem. The God which you do not believe in is not the actual God. You don't know the God yet. You don't believe in the God which is as per your understanding. What you have understood of God, that at God you don't believe. He said, I am also an atheist if that is the case. See, the problem here is God has got many definitions in the normal parlance. Everywhere, somebody may have given some definition. But trust me, God's definition, most of the places, is incorrect or incomplete. See, if you think of God as a person who created and left this creation to run on his own, and everybody has to resolve their own problem, then I would say that I'm also not impressed with the resume of God. That's not how God functions. The problem is everybody has got a different and incomplete understanding of God. That's what they believe or don't believe in. Some people have a fairly better idea of God, they start believing in. Some people have completely incorrect idea of God. So the disbelief in God is not in the disbelief in the actual God. It's in the understanding which we have formed in our mind. So the scriptures, one function is, I told you in the beginning that Bhagavad Gita is split into 3 portions. The first 6 chapters is Tvampad. Who are you? First of all, we don't have an understanding of ourselves only. That's the first problem. The next 6 chapters is called Tatpad. Tatpad means who is God? What is actually God supposed to be? How does he look like? How does he function? Those things are explained in the next 6 chapters, which is from 7 onwards up to 12. The last 6 chapters is called Asipad, the unison between the Tat and Tvam. What is your relationship with God? But actually you can take those 6 chapters in one more way, that how do you understand that God? That God is present everywhere. Even now in this room, he is more present than us. I'm using the word more present than us. We are present because of his presence. But we cannot feel him because we have gone into a different level altogether. So the last 6 chapters are basically telling you the sadhana by which, using which, you can start comprehending and understanding the God in his real form. So, you will see in the last 6 chapters, Bhagwan will talk about what kind of food you should eat, what kind of shraddha you should have. Why is it important? Because ultimately it all boils down here. What we have formed in our intellect and our inner equipment. What understanding we have formed here. Many people, you will see, they have a completely distorted understanding and they live their whole life with that distorted understanding. And who's losing? They are themselves who are losing from the whole thing. I told one thing at the beginning session itself. One thing which is very important for us in this life is that whatever we learn is one side, but at least fix your faith correctly, that where we live in this life, at least we can start from there. We don't have to struggle building our faith in the next life at least. That's the minimum we should do in this life itself. God is beautiful. Rather, I would use the word, He is the only beautiful thing in this whole cosmos. Among this whole mumbo jumbo, He is the only one who is beautiful. But our eyes cannot see Him, our eyes cannot comprehend Him, our mind cannot understand Him, because we have never been made to understand what He really is. That's what this text is going to do in this entirety. Now Arjun, what he is talking about here, when he says Sanatana Kuladharma Pranashyanti, he is talking about that culture which is sprouting out of religion, that tradition which we are going to lose. There is no textbook which is going to teach you Kula Dharma and Jati Dharma. There are two kinds of dharmas we talk about. Kula Dharma, Jati Dharma. Actually, there are three dharmas. I have been telling you now only. There is Kula Dharma, there is Jati Dharma, and then there is Ashram Dharma. Ashram is not the ashram we talk about where Guru and all are there. That's not what I am talking about. The four ashrams I am talking about. The Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. You see, every ashram has its own set of dharmas. Those dharmas, if you do correctly, automatically you are supposed to be left at the next ashram by on its own. I am telling you one small example. Well, especially Brahmacharya I'll pick up, because today there are no kids here, so I can pick it up now. Because otherwise kids will become agitated by the whole thing. See, Brahmacharya Ashram, the point of Brahmacharya Ashram is that Brahmacharya Ashram is an ashram to learn discipline. You have to learn certain things. How will you learn discipline? It doesn't come out of mother's womb to you. It's not given naturally to you. See, in this whole creation, you need to understand, to grow above, you need efforts. But to fall is natural. What strange thing it is? Because that's what gravitational force is all about. For an apple to fall from the tree, it needs no effort. For a human to fall below human level, it needs no effort. Leave your brain empty, it will automatically fall down. Because the moment you do not fill your intellect and inner equipment with dharma, adharma will take it over. That's the natural trend. Because we are sitting at a lower level, there are higher lokas above us. In this loka, it's a mixture of both, dharma and adharma. So if you leave your intellect empty or do not learn about dharma, it is automatically going to be overpowered by adharma. That's exactly what Arjuna is telling here. That Kula Dharma, once the Kula Dharma is gone, the family values are gone, value system is gone, what will happen? Dharme nashte Krishnam Kulam. The family also will fall. Krishnam will get destroyed. Why? Because an adharmic family, you don't think they will survive for long. The family values, the family system will survive for. Many families have diminished in the whole creation. Many have come, many have gone. They will not be a name for them also. There are some families which remain even today. They say, it's a great family. What is the greatness about that family? Because they have followed that culture and tradition. Culture and tradition is basically to uplift us. So, naturally when a child is born, he is uncultured. He or she is uncultured. Culture has to be fed into that person. That's what Kula Dharma is all about. That's why Arjun will now talk about a very important facet which I left in the last class, that women is a very, very important facet of our society. They are important. Why? Because they are the one because of whom the society runs. I am using correct word here. Even being a man, I am telling you. Because of whom the society runs, because of whom the society gets protected also. So, a woman has got a very high level of responsibility also. That's why it is said very clearly in our scriptures, in Manu Maharaj says, स्त्रियाः सदैव रक्षणीयाः. Pita, Putra, Patiyanva. They are always to be protected. In the childhood by a father, in the after period by husband, and later on by their own children. Always protected. Sadaiva Rakshaniyaha. See, that's how Manu Shastra talks about. Manu Smriti talks about. That's why they play a very important role, because they are not only going to help the culture, they are also going to help the children also grow into that culture. So they become the important people who will pass on the torch of culture from tradition to tradition. See, when I say Rakshaniya, I am not trying to say anything wrong here. When you say Rakshaniya, definitely yes, there will be many kind of time it will come that they should not do this, they should not do that. Those kind of things will come up, but it's not to suppress women. It's only to ensure that we protect the woman, so that the society gets cultured. What happens now is, in these days, now what happens is, first of all, we have left a generation which themselves didn't know the culture. So what to pass on? Forget about that. Britishers did a very good thing by destroying that portion. Gurukul used to be an important portion. They say one word, Pancha Varshani Lalayet, Dasha Varshani Tadayet, Prapte Shodasha Varshani, Putram Mitravat Acharet. That's the way it is given for our family life. They say, first 5 years, a kid needs to be given abundant love. Why? So that the kid does not have to look for love outside the family. Full stop. That's the meaning. Whatever love is required, he should get from the family itself. So, Pancha Varshani Lalayet, pamper that child, doesn't matter. Dasha Varshani Tadayet, in the next 10 years, which is 6 onwards, up to 15 or 16, you need to, give discipline to that child. Tadayet means you need to be very strict with that child. At that time, if you pamper, then it's not going to work. It's going to spoil that child. See, even how to develop a child also is so clearly written in Sanskrit what to talk about. Dasha Varshani Tadayet. Then keep that child in discipline at that point in time. Then Prapte Shodasha Varshani Putram Mitravat Acharet. Once that child attains 16, neither your love will work nor your discipline will work. Treat that child as your friend, so that they confide in you. They confide in you. Why? Because there are many circumstances which you cannot control outside. But if the child doesn't confide in you, how will you improve? You cannot go to their college, you cannot go to their parties, you cannot go to their set of friends they meet. Everywhere you can't be there. So you have to let the child confide in you. You should take the child as your friend. Neither your discipline will work, neither your love is going to work. Love will remain. Of course, it's a child, so love will remain. But too much pampering will not work. So they say, Prapte Shodasha Varshani Putram Mitravat Acharet. You have to be with that child as a friend, so that they confide in you, so that you can correct them wherever required. But that correction is not out of discipline. That correction is as a friend. Here, Arjuna is speaking to Krishna as a friend. See this? He is talking to Krishna as a friend now. Because with friend he can confide. Now he cannot move out of this war field and go to Kunti and say, Mother, I want to share with you something. That cannot happen here. So he chose a right person to become his charioteer, become his driver, become his person who can lead him with the fight. So good that who can guide him correctly in life also. So he says here Krishnam Kulam Adharma Uta Abhivavati. When once the Kula Dharma is gone, Adharma is going to take over that clan and Adharma will spread everywhere. With that we'll move into the next shloka. I'll read 2 shlokas together. 41 and 42. Adharma Abhivavat Krishna Pradushyanti Kulastriyah Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya Jayate Varna Sankaraha Sankaro Narakayaiva Kulagnanam Kulasya Cha Patanti Pitaro Hyesham Luptapindo Kriyaha Adharma Bhibavat Krishna Pradushyanti Kulastriyah Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya Jayate Varna Sankaraha Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham lupta pindodaka kriyaha. Now he uses two address for Bhagwan here. In the first line of 41st slok he uses Hey Krishna, because he says Adharma Abhibhavat Krishna. He uses first Hey Krishna as a friend he is talking about. Now you see what he is talking about. He says Hey Krishna, Adharma Abhibhavat Kulastriyaha Pradushyanti. When Adharma will increase in the family, in the intellect, in the culture will go away, and Adharma is going to take over everything, the first danger which happens is the family women population will become pradushyanti, they will become polluted. Now, there is a word here, polluted, there is a reason he said that. What happens now, in Sanatan Dharma, between a man and a woman, the way it is differentiated is very clear. If a man is cultured, that culture will only remain with him. If he gets spoiled, only he is going to get spoiled. It's not going to affect the family. But woman, because the child is also being protected by that woman, she is also being nourished by that woman. So but a woman is polluted, the whole family will get polluted. That's the word he is using here. Kulastriya pradushyanti. So somebody should ask, why he is not talking about men here? There are two reasons why he is not talking about men here. One, in the fight, all men are going to die. There will be no men left. Dharmic men won't be left. Those who did not come to the fight, they are anyway adharmic. That's why they didn't even come to the fight. So they are already spoiled. So what is the use of talking about them? So he is saying if this continues, what will happen? Male population will die in the war. Then female will become vulnerable and exposed to those adharmic people who are left behind. What they will do, they will start overpowering these females. See, there is a logic behind what Arjuna is talking about. And once they start overpowering those females, definitely yes, those adharmic behavior will start cultivating through them to the family, and the family values will get destroyed. That's what he's talking about here. That's why I use the word Hey Krishna. He's talking as a friend right now. Why can't you see, my friend? He's talking about with friend that, this is what is going to happen. I can see it very clearly. And this is exactly what Yudhishthir saw at the end. What did we do? Man, people can't search their dead bodies of their own relatives. It's like bloodshed everywhere. He got fearful at the end. I hope the remaining people do not revolt against us, that we ended up destroying everybody. And that's what Arjuna is saying now. He's saying, and the next word he uses in the next line, Hey Varshneya. Varshneya is the name of Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan Krishna is born in Vrishni Kula, Vrishni family, his name got Varshneya. Now you see, Arjuna has to talk about family values. So Arjuna is reminding Bhagwan of his family first. See, he is not lost mind completely here. He is talking complete sense. So he uses, in the same shloka, he is addressing Bhagwan in two different names. He says, Hey Varshneya. Bhagwan, who am I talking to? You know about your family. You are yourself born in Vrishni Kula. You are Bhagwan also. You know about the family values. Why I have to tell you? You should be knowing yourself. He says, Hey Varshneya, Strishu Dushtasu Varna Sankaraha Jayate. Once the women population get polluted, then there will be something called Varna Sankara. Now, that's a point which is going to take a little time to explain. Varna Sankara, in a common parlance, means admixture of castes. Okay? Admixture of caste. When one caste gets mixed with other one, they, intermingle without limitations and boundaries. That is what is intermingling of caste all about. Now the problem is, the moment we hear the word caste, we all get agitated. Because caste is a word which is used so incorrectly today. Very, very incorrectly. So Gurudev uses a word, caste is a word which in its perverted meaning, I'm purposely using what Gurudev used here. He says it's in its perverted meaning is something which makes many people agitated. Many people revolt against that thing, especially the educated. You open the channel, there will be some debate going on this system. I don't understand how we fell into this caste system. Caste system is not the way it is being understood today. That understanding is completely wrong. What we understand of caste is the way Hindu way of living has fallen into. Caste in those days used to be an intelligent division of the available manpower of a community. I'm using it purposely. Okay? Professional groups, what you call it. It used to be an intelligent division. And why I say intelligent division? The whole manpower was divided into categories depending upon their intellectual and mental capabilities. That's the difference. Bhagwan Krishna, in the 4th chapter, 13th shloka, he will use the word Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashah. Bhagwan says, I created these 4 Varnam. See, Varnam is the word we use for caste. But actually, Varnam in Sanskrit means color. They are 4 shades of a society. They are not meant to divide and fight amongst people. That's not how it is supposed to be. It is grossly misunderstood. If that the understanding which remains in the society today, if that is the understanding, then those people getting agitated about the caste system is not wrong. That's not the real meaning. It's clearly an intelligent division of manpower depending upon their intellectual and mental capabilities. Now what happens? Those people who are interested in research and study-oriented things, they were categorized as Brahmanas. Who are intellectual and research-oriented. They want to study their whole life. They became Brahmanas. They were styled as Brahmanas. Okay? Those people who have the interest to protect a country or who want to get into leadership positions. I'm using the word leadership positions. They want to protect the country. They want to do the act of protecting the country against the external and internal aggravators and all, aggressors and all. Those people, they could take up the risk of fighting and all those things. Those people were categorized as Kshatriyas. I'll come to Bhagwan's division also right now. There is a reason I picked up that shloka. Why Bhagwan said, I have divided with only 2 things in mind, according to guna and according to karma. I said, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. They are basis of only guna and karma. There is no other way Bhagwan has divided. Bhagwan did not create Khatri and all other things at all. He did not create that. He did not create Gupta, Garg, Bansal and all those things. Those are our creations. He did not create Chaturvedi, Dvivedi and Trivedi and all. He didn't do all those things. He said it's only divided between them in the way of their intellectual and mental capacities. He did not make those divisions the way we have understood it today. To the Bhagwan's division, I will come later on. Those people who wanted to serve the community through agriculture and trade, they got categorized as Vaishyas. Now, those people who do not fall under the above 3 categories, they were termed as Shudras. And then who will come into that? Entire service class, social service and all, and all those people who do laborious job and all, they all came under Shudras. Under the noble clan of Shudras. That's the reason I'm saying. When Bhagwan said 4 colors, he did not say that one color is superior and another is inferior. He never used that term. Color means they have equal status. Trust me, if I take one out of the society, this society will collapse. I'm using the word purposively. Okay, let me just conceive of a society which has got only Brahmanas. Who will do the other thing? Who will do agriculture? Who will do trade? How will the country be protected? Who will work? Brahmanas alone cannot lead the country. Okay, leave aside that. There are only Kshatriyas. There is a country to protect and all. But for whom? There are no people left. For who do you all do all these things? Okay, there are only Vaishyas. They will fight amongst themselves only then in the competition. Then nobody will be left. So then only Shudras. Why? Bhagwan created this division purposively like that. There is a reason behind it. This is how the society runs. There is a suktam for Bhagwan called Purusha Suktam. Bhagwan says, Brahmana are my head, and Vaishyas are my hand. He uses those terminology himself. Shudras are my leg. So, people come back and say, why did Bhagwan put Shudras as his leg? Arey bhai, without leg, can you reach somewhere? Why can't you understand? Just conceive of a man without leg. Where will you reach? You can't go and reach any destination. So they are part and parcel and important for the society to reach somewhere. If society cannot function without them, they are equally important. Nobody is inferior, nobody is superior here. When Bhagwan says guna karma, I will bring up that discussion now only. See, we have 3 gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. I will discuss these gunas later on, what are the qualities of these gunas. But for the division of this Varna, I am telling you, those people who are Sattva Pradhan and Raja Upapradhan, matlab their Sattva is primary and Rajas is secondary, they will fall into the category of Brahmanas. Because remember, for research and studies, without Sattva you cannot do. That's why in Brahmacharya, culture is required. I told you in the Brahmacharya ashram. Today kids are not there, I can say it. In Brahmacharya, kids need to have Sattva to study. See, enjoyment and all there in the life is good. It can come once you have completed studies also. But if you lose the time of your studies in enjoyment, at the time when you were supposed to enjoy, what will you do? The time is gone. It will not come again. So that there is an intelligent division of the time and ashram also that way. You have to do what you have to do at that time. If those people who study well in Brahmacharya, they are focused, they make effort to grow, trust me, they don't have to look back in life. Now those people who in Brahmacharya try to enjoy life, they have to rug throughout their whole life. So Bhagwan says, those who are Sattva Pradhan and Raja Upapradhan, they become Brahmana. Now comes the Kshatriya. Now Kshatriya, Bhagwan says, those who are Rajas Pradhan and Sattva as Upapradhan. They have Rajas as the primary and Sattva as the secondary. They become Kshatriyas. Then Bhagwan says, those people who are Rajas Pradhan and Tamas as the secondary, they become Vaishyas. For Shudras, Bhagwan says, those who have Tamas Pradhan and Raja as Upapradhan, they become Shudras. See, I am talking about gunas. I am not talking about inferior or superior here at all. Bhagwan has divided the thing. So their guna, so will be their action. Now, Kshatriya will always be either in politics or they will be at the border protecting the country, there will be army or all those things. Brahmana will be, they will be in puja or other things and they will be teachers and all those things. So that's how the intelligent division of society is all about. Now when we talk about admixture of caste, there is nothing wrong about that. That's the way I said, this division of caste is according what we call today as professional groups. That division is already there. Now when they so seriously talk about this inadvisability of admixture, they just think for a while, a qualified doctor, a qualified engineer is sent to a hospital as an in charge and he is sent to an operation theatre to do an operation. What will it be? It will be a social danger. The same way a doctor is sent to take care of a power plant, what will he do? That is what he is talking about, admixture of caste. It is called the incompatible intermingling of caste. Now what has happened that young men and women, in the blindness of their passion, they have lost their boundaries. They have not understood what the thing is. Culture and tradition is maintained from family after family, decades after decades. And our ancestors have worked and rugged enough to cultivate that culture to be passed on to the future generations. And just see, if they look at it that what we worked hard, we lost sweat to create this, We lost our life, and there are people who in their merriness are just destroying it. What will they feel seeing those things? That is what Arjuna is trying to bring out here. Varna Sankar. This is called admixture of caste. So I have to bring that up separately. Please remember, when they become, blind with passion and all those things, when it becomes into a habit of, there is a word called lust when we comes into, see, lust knows no boundaries, and it care a damn about culture, it care a damn about evolution of the society. It just wants to fulfill itself. So to not fall into that bracket is why Arjuna is recommending this. Now think of something. There is external police and court to, see whether we are working within the rules or not. Just think of a society, cultured society, which is self-regulated. They don't need police and court. See, the actual usefulness of a culture is when you feel these police and courts as useless. You don't need them at all. Why do we need to fight with each other? Why can't we be as one family, and why can't we support each other? There are two brothers in one family. There is no necessity that both of them will grow exactly the same way. So what if one cannot grow that way? The other supports, the family can remain the same unit. The culture is saved. He is talking about why can't we live together? Why we have to live separately? Why we have to think separately? So Arjuna is talking exactly the same thing here. He is saying once these gets destroyed, Bhagavan, hey Varshnaya, Strishu Dushtasu, once the women population get polluted, right, then what happens? Varna Sankara Jayate. The whole caste system will completely go down into drains. Everything will become admixture of caste is going to spoil everything here. He says in the next shloka, Sankaraha kulagnanam kulasya narakaya eva lupta pinda udaka kriyaha. He says, once the admixture of caste happens, admixture of families happen, what happens? Kulagnanam, the one who is the destroyer of these families. He is calling himself a destroyer of families. If we end up doing this war, we will end up becoming the destroyer of the families. Because that's what people will term us to be. Kulagnanam cha, and those families which get destroyed, both. Narakaya eva, they will fall into hell. Why they will fall into hell? Can you think of a reason why they will fall into hell? Please remember, it's very difficult to cultivate good habit. As I told you, to fall we don't need any effort. One example which I keep using in my sessions is that, have you seen a flight? For it to take off, it needs a lot of effort. It needs to go to the, taken to the runway. It needs to bring that to that speed level. Then finally it makes an attempt to take off. Takeoff takes a lot of effort. Keeping in the sky still needs effort, but is still much less than the takeoff attempt. But to land, it needs lesser effort for the flight. Of course, the pilot needs to do many things that he may not end up landing wrongly. In the same way, for our personality to pick up, it needs lot of effort. Maintaining needs effort, but not as much effort as it is needed to take off. But falling needs really no effort. If the flight doesn't do anything, it will fall to the ground. Everyone may die, that's a different story. Even if it doesn't decide to land, everyone will die. That's the only point. But it's not difficult to fall. So Arjuna is saying, Bhagwan, what will happen? We will all fall into Naraka. Why? Because once the family gets destroyed, once the clan gets mixed together, what will happen? Lupta pinda udaka kriyaha. Now this is a very important point which these days is understood very, very wrongly. The young generation today says, to make fun of it, he says, what? I don't understand what kind of living you are living in. We give pind and udak. Pind and udak means the rice ball and water. We give pinddan here, and the pitras in next slok get. I don't understand what kind of scientific world you are living in. And they put us down by saying that actually it's not coming out of that. It's coming out of two things. One is the laziness to do all these things. They don't want to end up going there and doing that. That's one thing. The second thing is they have no knowledge about the thing. See, everything seen. You don't have to see everything to believe. There are many unseen things in this world. Like the air you breathe. You don't see it, right? but you feel it, you breathe it. If you say that the air doesn't exist, you will be a fool to say that. You don't have to necessarily see everything to believe. There are many things. Actually, I'll tell you one thing. Again, I'm referring to Purusha Suktam here. Bhagwan in the Purusha Suktam says, 1/4 of Bhagwan is this whole seen world. Whole seen world means all the different galaxies, everything put together is only 1/4 of Bhagwan. 3/4 of Bhagwan, Tripad Asya Amritam Divi. 3/4 of Bhagwan is not known to anyone. Anyone is the word I'm using. When rishis and people, and the sages and Mahatmas, when they grow in their thing, they start seeing other creations and other worlds also. But here he is talking about all the galaxies put together is only 1/4 of Bhagwan. 3/4 of Bhagwan you can't see also. So he is saying, Lupta Pinda Udaka Kriya, once the Pinda and Udak Kriya, the what we do it during Shraddh season, it's gone, those Pitaras will also start falling down. Now, I have to give you one example of a loka here. What happens? Now, one more thing I want to understand is, Puja Swami Subodhananji used to say, death is not real, it's only notional. I'm repeating myself. Death is not real, it's only notional. There is nothing real called death. Death is what? Only the end of staying in this body, and the jiva walks away from this body into a next life. Like, for example, you were living in Chandigarh, you go somewhere, they say, wo chale gaye. Right? Chale gaye means you have left your place of stay here and you have gone to a different place. That's exactly what we use when somebody dies. What we say? Wo gujar gaye. Gujar gaye, chale gaye. That means we know well that he's gone somewhere. Our relation with this body, the jiva staying in this body's time has ended. The jiva has passed on to the next life or next world somewhere else. When he leaves the body, there is a loka called Pitru Loka where he goes. I have to explain you because I have to make you understand this Pinda Udaka Kriya. Whatever you offer here, even if it's once in a year in Shraddh, it goes to those Pitaras who are staying in Pitru Loka. Pitru Loka is a Urdhva Loka, is a higher Loka than here. But the only problem with the only good part about Pitru Loka is only a Bhog Loka. It's not a Karma Loka. They have no freedom for action there. They can only enjoy the fruit of their action which they have already done. So when people here, they do Shraddh Karma, that maintains them there for a particular period of time, till the time their karma is there. Okay, there are two things. One is their karma phala and one is what we offer here. The problem with people, what happens is, in their effort, in their mindset of laziness and all those things, many don't even take care of parents in their real life now. What to talk about afterlife? Forget about that. Arey, you look after parents now here, then only you look after them after life, no? Parents here, they are your asset. They are the one who are the bearers of culture to you. You owe something to them. You owe something to them till the time you are in this body. And till the time you are in this body, since you owe them, that is why our Rishi Muni have kept Pinda Udaka Kriya Shraddh time there. And once in a year Shraddh comes for Sanatan Dharma. That time of the year, during any of those days, you can go and offer and come back. If you offer in Badrinath or you offer in Gaya, you don't have the obligation to offer every time. Okay, every year you don't have to offer. Because that one offering is equal to offering for throughout your life. But till when do you owe the responsibility to offer that? Till the time you are alive in this body. See, they don't need to worry about what happens after life. Their karma will take them somewhere. We do or not, they will get their karma, that's a different thing. But we are getting Pitru Dosha. Why? Because what is our responsibility? We are running away from that. So he says, once the Varna Sankara happens, the cultural tradition will fall. Because somebody will marry somebody else, their caste is different, their Jati Dharma is different, their Kula Dharma is different. Who will offer according to what? Everything will fall off. Since that will fall off, even the Pitras, the ancestors staying in Pitraloka, they will fall off. Gurudev has mentioned another meaning of this word. They say that, this culture is something which the ancestors have cultivated through their hard work. They have lost their blood and sweat for this culture. When they see from the lokas that their children or their lineage of the family, they are not following up, just think of how sad they will feel. So Gurudev says it's another way to indicate that why it is important for us to continue with that culture. So that's why Arjun says, Kulasya gunagnanam cha kulasya narakaya eva lupta pinda udaka kriyaha esham pitara hi patanti. All these ancestors will start falling. Falling where? According to their karma into different lokas. Our pinda udaka kriya can retain them for some period of time there. Now, two things I want to mention here. I told you in one of the session that up to Swargaloka, it's a Bhogaloka. It's not a Karmaloka. Up to Swargaloka. There is a reason I'm saying till Swargaloka. You can do Bhog, you cannot do Karma. So this knowledge cannot be gained in Swargaloka. So there are stories which comes up. Indra had to come down to earth to gain this knowledge. This story is there in many places. I'll come as a reference wherever it comes. So this knowledge cannot be gained over there because knowledge comes out of action. You have to do the action. You have to come here. You have to make an effort to study. You have to do sadhana. You have to do many other things to get the knowledge. So those karmas, there is no freedom for those karmas in Pitraloka and Swargaloka. Till the time their karma phala is there, they will remain in that loka. After that, they will fall. The only additional benefit they get is that once we offer the kriya, they can stay there temporarily for a particular period of time. That is the reason why that kriya has been kept. So that we do not have this kriya spread across the whole year. Our Pitras, our Rishi Munis, they have kept it one Shraddh month. You celebrate in that Shraddh month. They have kept it like that Pitru Paksha. And especially that Amavas is very, very important at that time. The Shraddh Paksh ki Amavas jo hai. So Arjun uses that word here. Then we'll go to the 43rd shloka now. He says, Doshai retai kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadyante jati dharmaha kula dharmascha shashvataha doshai retai kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadyante jati dharmaha kula dharmascha shashvataha. He says, Etaihi varna sankara karakaihi doshaihi kulagnanam shashvataha kula dharmacha jati dharma utsadyante. He says, utsadyante means it will get destroyed. He says, due to this is varna sankara karaka doshaihi, due to the fault of this varna sankara, the admixture of caste which is going to happen, kulagnanam, because of who? Because of the destroyer of these families. He's talking about himself. For Pandavas now, Shashvataha Kula Dharmacha Jati Dharma Utsadyante. The caste dharma, the Jati Dharma, and the Kula Dharma, the family culture and the caste culture. Both the cultures which have been there, Shashvata, which have been flowing in from time immemorial, they will get destroyed. Now, I'll tell you why I am using this Jati Dharma and Kula Dharma separate. Within Sanatan Dharma also, Brahmanas' kriyas are different. Kshatriya's way of doing action and culture is different. Vaishyas are completely different. You go to Gujarat and all, their tradition is different. There is so much difference in our complete culture. So when I talk about religion, you see, these kind of functions are there in every religion, so to say. Islam, Christianity also have function during the birth of a child. But their function may be different. They have functioned during marriage of their child also. They have functioned, what you call these days now, graduation ceremony. They have, once the child comes out of the college, there is another ceremony now. Everything is ceremonious. So why, always put down Hindus for this? Ceremony is there in some way or the other everywhere, in this whole world. Whichever religion it may be, ceremonies are there. We have a culture called Shodash Sanskar. We have 16 sanskars in Sanatan Dharma. We call it. It starts with Garbhadhan. Once a child is in mother's womb, there is one sanskar there. Then when the child is born, there is a sanskar there. There is a Janeu sanskar there. Then he goes to Gurukul, there is a sanskar there. Ask for it. There are so many ceremonies. which are mentioned there. Now, amongst those sanskar, Shraddh is also one sanskar. You know, in other religion also, when somebody dies, there is a tradition of theirs according to which they do the last rites. They may bury, they may burn, that's a different thing altogether. But, since they have died, they just don't leave them, let them be eaten by, dogs and all. That doesn't happen. Everyone has their own ceremony. That's what he's talking about, Kula Dharma and Jati Dharma here. He says, once they get destroyed, these things will get destroyed. There is a community called Parsi community. It came into a lot of discussion and because of that person who died right on a road accident at that time. Cyrus Mistry. So, in Parsi culture, they have this tradition that, once a person dies, they're taken to a particular place and they're left for, vultures to eat them. That doesn't mean they are disrespectful to their ancestors. That's their tradition. They are not left in some garbage to, so a vulture can come and eat anywhere. They have a proper place, they have a proper ceremony. It's all ceremonious. That's what the ceremony is talking about. Once the culture stops or culture gets destroyed, it's not passed on, these ceremonies will die. That's what he's talking about, Utsadyante. They all will get destroyed. Both the caste culture and the family culture, both. In the next shloka, I'll take the next one, 44th. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatityanushruma. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatityanushruma. Now Arjun uses one word which I'll bring out first. He says, like this I have heard. Anushruma. It's not my own mental cultivation, Bhagwan. I have heard this. That's why I said the word earlier. Arjuna is well listened and well read. Both. When you live in a kingdom, in kingdom many kinds of saints come and visit them. And when the saints come, that never used to be there in the kingdom, that saints come and they say, Nritya dikhao and all those things. It never used to be like that. It was not that kind of a culture of ours. When the saints and sages used to come, at that time they were given opportunities to speak to the kingdom and to the people who follow them, to the rulers, their children. They were invited to come and sit. That culture is where Arjuna is coming from. He says, like this I have heard. It's not my own mental projection. Because Arjun has heard these things, he is able to bring them out even during Vishad. Just think, somebody who's in a mental hysteric condition, he is talking absolute knowledge here. He is not talking some nonsense here. Why? Because remember one thing, our culture and our philosophy, this is a very important point I'm talking about here. Our philosophy is not a philosophy to be read. It's a philosophy to be listened. I'm using again. In our Sanatan Dharma, we don't give too much importance to people who have read a lot of scriptures. Because it's not the art of reading. It's the art of listening. Why? Because when you read, you will interpret according to your own understanding. That's why our scriptures are grossly misunderstood outside. Many have read and written commentaries also. This is not a scripture to be read and written commentary. Somebody asked Swami Subodhananji, Puja Swami Subodhananji used to speak very deep. I wish I will make you listen someday for a few minutes as a clipping, then you will understand what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you and me can't be on the same page on that. Anyway, so somebody went and asked Swamiji, you speak so deep. You must have read a lot of scriptures. Swamiji said, I've never read anything. Huh? What are you talking about? You never read anything? I have listened to scriptures well. It's an art of listening. Here, Bhagwan could have told Arjuna, here is the book I have written. Go read and come back. He didn't do that. I've written a lot of books. Arjun, go to my library, read and come back. You didn't do that. Your Vishad will be over there. It's not a reading culture. It's a culture of listening. Why? The person who is teaching you should have understood it with faith first. Should have gone to the depth of the knowledge first. Then only he can bring out the depth to you, no? If the person himself has read somewhere, there are many people I have seen. I know these days I am telling you why, making fun also with that man. There are so many corporate trainers which have been born during this time of COVID. I am purposely using the word. Some is in our family also is there. Corporate trainers. What happens? They are like, they do a copy paste job. I have listened to a lot of Swamis, very good. They copy it somewhere, paste it somewhere else. They may be reference, may not be referential. But I am sorry, we have no respect for such thing. Person should have been well understood. After listening, he should have read the scriptures. Reading is given after listening. So what you have listened, you clarify it once you read. So read and come. It's not like school days. Teachers say that you read and come to school. Arey bhai, read happens after listening. This the kriya hi badal gayi puri. वो sequence ही गलत है. Listening has to happen first. That's why Bhagwan has given ears here on top. And he is given two on two sides for a reason. The way he has manufactured body, and I tell you, it's a wonder in itself. There is nothing else you need to see to respect God and love God. He is so great. I don't know which factory he created this. Everything is perfectly blended at right place. And if we understand it, the way it has been kept, we will understand the importance of things also. Listening comes first. Seeing comes after. Okay? That's how the scripture is talking about. So Arjun says, Anushruma, iti Anushruma. Bhagwan, I am not talking from my head. I have listened it very well from places. He says what? He says, sorry, He Janardana. He uses the word He Janardana for Bhagwan. Janardana means, I told you, the one who is the protector of all. Everybody. Everybody is his folks. See, all of us are his child. See, we are child of our parents, but first we are his child, then the child of our parents. And there are certain Sanatan Dharam things which I will talk to you in the next class. I will come here first right now. He Janardana, Utsanna Kula Dharmanam. That Kula Dharma, that culture, that family culture which is destroyed, at that one, Manushyanam, who's of the people, the family culture, that which is destroyed, Aniyatam Narake Vasaha Bhavati. They will all fall into hell for an indefinite period of time. Narake Aniyatam. Aniyatam means for not known period of time. For an indefinite period of time. He is not using the word infinite here. Infinite doesn't come for lokas in our scripture at all. You will not hear that word. It's definite or indefinite. Known period or unknown period of time. That's the way he's saying. They will fall into hell for an indefinite period or unknown period of time. This is what I have listened to from my rishis and sages who have come and blessed our kingdom. See, a kingdom always has to look in this way. Our Sanatan Dharma is very clear. Dharms, the leadership of a dharma cannot be done by a country's leaders. धर्म का नेतृत्व कभी भी राजनीति नहीं कर सकती. ठीक है ना? धर्म का नेतृत्व हमेशा अलग रहेगा. It will always be different. The leadership of dharma will always be different. Religion will always be different. But a religious leader who is well known and well listened to in the scriptures, who's understood the scriptures well, should always be in the committee of a leader to advise you where you go wrong. I'm giving you one small example. See, I'm not trying to bring out personal details here, but I'm just trying to tell you, day before yesterday I was hearing a statement of CIA person that what Modi ji did speaking to Russia, nobody else could have done it to stop the war. Everybody is looking up to India that only we can do it. I'm not saying he's doing the netritva of dharma, I'm not talking about that. But one who has grown in the culture, he understands that culture. See, Vasudeva Kutumbakam is the concept of Sanatan Dharma, full stop. So he says, Aniyate Narakam Vasaha Bhavati iti Anushushruma. This is how I have heard. Rest we'll see in the next class. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanaeti samarpayami Sriman Narayanaeti samarpayami. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Om Tat Sat.